My name is Colin Watego. I'm a very proud Bundjalung man, a very proud Torres Strait Islander descendant, a very proud South Sea Islander descendant. And I consider myself extremely blessed because I can, stand proudly under three flags: the Australian national flag, the Aboriginal flag, and the Torres Strait Islander flag. I'm a very proud Indigenous ex-serving soldier. I enlisted on the 3rd of September 1974, and I ended up going into artillery, and I haven't never looked back since. That's where I was meant to be, following again in the footsteps of my dad, who was ex-artillery. That's my dad. A short story, that colour patch that he's wearing on his sleeve, when I was posted to 812 Medium Regiment, that is their colour patch. And I was very honoured to wear the same patch that my dad wore, particularly as the RSM of the regiment. So that's a pretty special story for me. But these three gentlemen here, this is where it all started for me, I guess, even though I know it goes back before then. But when you look at these photos, this is actually a photo of my grandfather as a young man. That's his older brother, Uncle George, and that's my grandmother's brother. And these three men all enlisted at the same time and served in World War I. This is Uncle Vince, remarkable man. Died too young, but he's now buried in the cemetery at El Alamein. And then myself and my brothers, who followed again in the footsteps, and then even my own daughter indirectly working with for a long time with the Department of Veteran Affairs, rehabilitating returned soldiers and sailors and airmen and airwomen, and trying to get them back to their families again. For me personally, I'm extremely honoured and privileged to have had the opportunity to follow in the footsteps of my ancestors. My grandfather, my great uncles, the two great uncles who served in World War I and then backed up again in my grandfather in World War II, my dad and his two brothers, and I can only think about the sacrifice his immediate family, including my grandfather, and I know stories about my grandmother when they got the word that their older brother wasn't coming home, Uncle Vince. You just got to ponder on that for a minute and then just think how devastating that is to hear. So there's no greater sacrifice than that from anybody. There's been a lot of history. We all know that. I'm an Indigenous man, and I work within the Indigenous space, and I see the pain of history. I see it in our kids, I see it in our communities, and that's why I do what I do. I am so honoured that our leaders today, our military leaders, have taken upon themselves to change history, to change things. A very good friend of mine quoted a long time ago that Defence have always been an equal opportunity organisation, and no matter what the colour of your skin is, your gender, whatever your beliefs were, and it's true. I've met a lot of very good people in my career. My family is so extended because one of the things about Defence is we are family, and even though you may not catch up with someone for a long time, we share things with each other that perhaps even our own personal families don't know because of the stuff that they go through. And I think when we think about all this and we look at the commitment of particularly our young people today, they're still out there doing the thing, and the ones that have already been, it's so important that we, the broader community, have that moment when we do stop to reflect, to think exactly what the sacrifice, not only them, but their wives and their children and their grandparents and their parents and people who care about them go through. And I've had time to reflect on that myself, and recently and more recently. And I actually would like to finish by paying respect to my family, to my immediate family, firstly to my wife. I've been in the army for 43 years, or was, so was she. And she had to do it a lot harder when I wasn't there when I needed to be. Not when I needed to be, but I would have wanted to be. But also my children. for me to have had the opportunity to do that, so that my great-grandchildren and other children and all of us can have the opportunity to be free. It's a tremendous feeling to consider that you've just had a little bit of a contribution towards that. So I'm extremely honoured and extremely privileged to be part of the story and my little bit of a contribution to all of that.